We lived on the second floor in a railroad flat where all the rooms follow each other, one right after the other, and they're called railroad flats.
Had a very restricted youth. In those days, of course, you didn't let a kid go down in the street and run around as he did. So I was very close to my parents, particularly my mother, who was home, never had a job, never worked.
Sometimes with my friends, we would sit in the hallway and play games. There weren't too many board games for us at that time, so we would play actresses and actors, or an I Spy game.
As I went to school and learned to read, I became a very good reader. I read quite a bit, did my homework, and listened to the radio.
And then from 1293 First Avenue, we moved to 65th Street, and there I spent most of my years.
Dinner in the Falanga household was a sacred tradition, and we took dinner every night when my father came home. May have been late for dinner in those days. My dad probably didn't get home until 7 o'clock or so in those days. In fact, that 7 o'clock hour was his for all the decades he was in the meat business. Well, I have one sister. She was 5 years younger than I. She is 5 years younger than I. She is Dolores also.
I have two sisters. I had two sisters. They're both deceased. My sister Muriel was the oldest. She was the most generous person, very devoted to her family, devoted to her mother. And my sister Constance, whom we called Connie, is married, and she had one daughter. My mother, she stayed at home and took care of the family, and later on she also worked when the children were grown, and she was a telephone operator, and she worked at one of the hotels in New York. We moved from 319 after my grandmother died, because we felt there were too many memories in the house, and moved just up the street to 307.
When I was 5, we moved out of that neighborhood. We moved uptown. We improved our situation a bit by moving up to 102nd Street and Amsterdam Avenue. Very nice apartment, still a tenement, top floor. You had a nice view out. We're on the 5th floor, nice view outside. And mixed neighborhood, various European people of various European extraction. Good people. Children in this area were permitted to go outside a little more freely. Now, I still was only 5 years old, and I didn't get out very much. But as I grew up, I was able to go out, play with the kids.
There was a butcher shop across the street, a little grocery store, and around the corner we had a movie theater.
What was your first impression of going to school? Were you a good student, or did you like school?
It was difficult for me because I had been so close to my family, my mother particularly. It was very difficult for me to go off to a strange place, and I have to admit that I cried the first few times I was there.
We had a lot of fun. We'd rent bicycles, we'd bicycle ride. We'd roller skate in the road, and we'd just form a Congo line and go down the street.